Christmas is always a very interesting time. There are many different ways that people see Christmas, and people's concerns vary also from, is the turkey big enough? Can we accommodate everyone this year? Did I get my child the right gift? To those other people who are saying, well, who am I staying with this year? Am I welcome for this Christmas? Because I remember what happened last year. But with the tragedy that happened in Connecticut, there's a definite shift in the way that people are seeing and viewing this time of the year. And there's a definite reflection upon what it's about. Family, friends, and actually showing gratitude and appreciation and love for those around you.
Oh boy, I'm sure there's just more than just one story out there like this. And bouncing back, obviously, probably more than anything else is the commentary of Newtown, Connecticut, and the children being massacred there. That was an extreme tragedy.
Yeah.
And, there are athletes that have lost children, coaches that have lost children.
Yeah.
And you and I both can't conceive what that feeling would be like. I visualize that would be tragic to no end.
Yeah.
And you're just drawn to emotional. But I think, you look around and you see some incredible people along the way that are not athletes.
Yeah.
And for example, a parent of an autistic child, or a child who's about to die, who has a short lifespan and is that's a foregone conclusion that has a short lifespan. That parent is remarkable to be doing that every day. Know that it puts a lot of life things in perspective, that it's like we had talked about, perhaps you and I, in our last conversations, that it's a unique experience. The life is just, it's fragile.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long. The moments are cherished because in a moment's notice, things can be taken away or things can absolutely change.
Most definitely.
For the positive and for the negative. And if you look at Newtown, Connecticut, the entire world changed in that moment's notice.
Yeah.
The unspeakable occurred, and it's not just that. There's a lot of recklessness that has occurred, with even the NFL athlete that had tragedy and took the life and took his own life. But there are so many victories that are not known. I know our forum is definitely one where we have athletes that are, or athletic stories, but sometimes I see parents that are going through an everyday process of knowing that one their child has a short term, has been diagnosed of something, and is going to pass on within, whether it's 3 years or months. And how do they first deal with it, and then second, what changes have they made to their life, knowing that that's been the case?
Yeah.
I'm probably sure that certain things don't bother them anymore.
Mm.
I'm sure their values have changed in terms of what's important and what's really not important.
Yeah.
And if you knew, that's like the $1 million question that's been thrown around for centuries. You know, if you knew that your child was going to die, what would you do differently? Now, would it be about the time that you spent with them? Absolutely. You wouldn't be worried about the weather. You wouldn't be thinking about some other activity to get to. It wouldn't matter. And I see that daily. You know, I try to take notice of that, and I see some parents. I had just commented on that a couple of days ago. That just remarkable, because you know it's an exhausting path to just raise a normal child. Now, any child with other needs, or one that you know is forecasting, you know, a short life, man, tragic. Yeah. But yet awe-inspiring, because you see the parental resolve to raise a child like that is 10 times more valuable than an athlete.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There are athletes that are out there, but you know, see how strong everyday normal parents can be in the face of adversity. They can teach a lot of athletes more than maybe athletes can teach them.
Yeah, and it puts everything into perspective.
Oh, my goodness. You know, when stuff happened on Friday, I mean, it was so many feelings came about that I couldn't imagine the things that were happening. I think that happened on Thursday, am I right? Not sure when that tragedy happened, but I know that next day, I had a Christmas play for my son.
Yeah.
And you know, I got extremely emotional when I saw the kindergarten and first grade walk up to their place on the podium.
Yeah.
My goodness. The fragile and so tiny and just barely beginning.
Yeah.
Just led, you know, that was emotional, and that, you know, to me is like, now you talk about the strength of that parent who lost a child. How are they coping? How are they dealing with things? How do they find peace? How do they find comfort in their life? And that's one of those extremes. That's one of those things where I look at it and I say, I'm amazed. I have no words to say. You know, a lot of people can be upset because of traffic.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be concerned one bit about how traffic is.
Yeah.
And the strength, you know, again, you know, to go to sleep and not have memories, or to be in that house without those memories.
Yeah.
Quite the burden, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are coaches and athletes that have lost children and how they go about their day, but you know, more importantly, I think just the common person has lost a child and has found resiliency, and I think athletes. I think the opposite can be said. You know, the athletes can find strength and courage from that. Victor Cruz is an example of that. He doesn't know what to do. You know, a young kid, you know, idolized him, and he didn't. How is he calling their house and to comfort that house?
Yeah.
You know, and he goes and he spends time. I'm sure, I'm 100% sure that he gets more out of seeing their strength and their resiliency as a family than he is providing to them.
Yeah.
And because every night since then, everyone has kind of clutched their child probably a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
Probably thought about things a little bit more. And it doesn't matter where that was in the world, things change.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I know that Victor Cruz was over there the other day or yesterday, That's probably was a heavy burden to carry to walk into that. But that's one where we all are, a grown person, and they go through their issues, one thing, but a small defenseless child of their own doing or of not. And that's why I made that reference to having even the child who's sick, has a disease or has something that's going to have a short lifespan on Earth. And the same true, though, Anthony. You could see 75-year-old men and women who are maybe not grateful for the little things that have occurred in life, and still concerned about money and fame and fortune and prestige, and it isn't going to help when you pass on, is it?
That's right.
The probably one of the greatest gifts that an adult can learn from a child is the ability to let things go.
Yeah.
A child instantly can be perhaps into an argument with another friend or something, and then immediately be playing right away with them.
Yeah.
And because they don't have what has been learned later by the adult. They don't have that wanting of control. They don't have that wanting of seeking that approval, and of having that security and safety. They have it because they let things just go, and thus they have it already.
Yeah.
But we as adults we want control, and because we want control, we can't have it. We want approval. We want someone's love, and therefore, sometimes if we just kind of let things go, you'll have it. And it's one of the best things that I think listeners can take from it is observe a small child and observe a child and see when they let things go. And conversely, see when that child changes and cannot let things go, then the path has been created. And now they start to think about other things like apathy and I can't do things, and the desires for money and other things cloud their judgment. And because when you're truly at your best, when you're in complete happiness, is when you're at peace and you're comfortable, nothing bothers you.
Yeah.
and that's when you're looking at a nice small child who's fed, clothed, happy. It's a great feeling, and nothing. And those are great qualities. And so I think that's the Buddha had said, that life is suffering, and it's suffering because of man's desires. But if you took away man's desires, you no longer had suffering in your life.